So we are leaving Manatee Pocket. We are approaching the St. Lucie River right now. When we hit the river, we're going to hang a left, and at that point begins the 5 to 7 day journey for us to cross the Okeechobee Waterway from east to west.
This is the westbound sailing vessel Sandflea requesting passage through the lock. Nothing.
Hey, listen back to that westbound, go ahead.
What do you say? This is the westbound sailing vessel Sandflea requesting passage through the lock.
Roger, just stand by, have an eastbound now, and then a PWC right there. Once this eastbound is clear, take you both up, and the PWC will come in first. You lock on the port side, PFDs are required, so make sure you have life jacket on.
Roger.
So for these locks through the canal, you have to wear your life jacket. And the guy just told us it's a port side tie. We were anticipating that. We already got fenders out on the port side. So I think we're ready for it. I feel a little nervous about it. I think this is only like the, I don't know, second or third lock we've ever been through, right?
The second lock. The first lock was in Great Bridge.
So we got to wait for the eastbound vessel to come out. And then they said some watercraft are going in first. PWCs. All right, here we go. Lock doors are closing. Yep. You need to kind of keep the boat away from the wall a little bit. You know what I mean? Yeah, just don't push. Just kind of hold it where it's at. You know what I mean? Because our shrouds are about a foot from the wall up there, and it's just these ropes hanging down. Kinda weird. Tambi, kinda weird. Alright. We've actually got a GoPro running up on the mast, so this might be kind of cool to watch. Okay, so we made it through the lock. Wasn't too dramatic. It did get a little turbulent in there, I guess, whenever they start letting the water in, but it wasn't too big of a deal. I guess the weirdest part was that our port side shrouds were like, you know, this far from the wall, but no real drama.
No.
Let me tell you why we're towing the dinghy. Basically, it is because if we had the dinghy on the davits back there, you know, it pokes off the side maybe 2 to 3 feet on each side, and that would have been, the dinghy would have been up against the wall, you know, inside those locks. So it would have been really difficult going through the locks if the dinghy was on the davits. I don't want to have the dinghy on the deck because if we need to put out a stern anchor or a kedge anchor or something like that, obviously I can't do that with the dinghy on the deck. So we are towing the dinghy just so that we have it if we need it, and also because we can't have it on the davits. So that is why we are choosing to tow the dinghy through the Okeechobee Waterway. So we are in Indiantown, Florida, at the Indiantown, Florida Marina. Is that what it's called? Indiantown?
Indiantown Marina, yep.
Yeah. So we've kind of made a little diversion to our plan. We have learned that the water level in the Okeechobee Lake is extremely low right now. The Army Corps of Engineers website calls it 5 feet of navigable depth, but I don't know if that's like the shallowest point or like the average or whatever. But called around to some of the locks around here, and they say that basically sailboats are not going through the lake right now just because it's so stinking low. So we are basically going to hang out here at this marina for a few days and see if we can get some rain, because that's what it takes to increase the depth of the water. I think if it goes from 5 to 6 feet, I think that we'll feel safe going across there. But right now, I don't know. I got a kind of a weird feeling that if we went right now, we might run into trouble. And there's actually some really hard, rocky, shallow spots. It's not all mud out there. You actually can run aground on some very hard stuff, and that's just not something we want to do. Is it, honey?
No, it's not.
So, you okay with hanging out here for a few days?
Yes.
It is pretty hot here.
Yes.
We're, you know, not as breezy, but
they have showers.
They do have showers. I don't know, can you see like the sweat on my face, my forehead here? I mean,
it's pretty sweaty, folks.
It is. It's pretty darn sweaty. Certainly not our preference to hang out here, at least my preference. I'd rather crank it out and go ahead and get over to the other side of Florida. But under the circumstances, I think this is the smart thing to do.
Yep, good spot to be if we have to take a break.
Alright, it is 6:30 a.m. and we are pulling out of Indiantown Marina. Getting an early start towards Lake Okeechobee, mainly because the water level is so stinking low and the weather is calmer in the morning. Basically, I wouldn't want to be out there in that really skinny water in the afternoon when the wind picks up and the chop builds, that kind of thing. So yeah, just trying to get an early start out there so we can hopefully get across the lake sooner than later. This is about the foggiest morning I've seen in a long time. So today is the day where we're going to be facing two of the scariest parts of this whole trip today. The first one that we go through is the Macaya Railroad Lift Bridge. That bridge is the lowest bridge on this Okeechobee Waterway. I think the normal opening height is 45 feet at like a regular water level. However, the water level is so stinking low that we're probably going to have more like a 55 foot off the water clearance. So the Mayaca Railroad Lift Bridge isn't going to be as scary as it normally would be. However, the Okeechobee Lake is going to be even scarier than it would normally be. There's one particular part in the lake that gets really shallow and really rocky all at the same time. But if we can make it across the lake, then we should have a pretty simple trip from this point forward. So just know that today is kind of the scary day.
Oh.
Oh man, that is a close one. Holy moly.
Oh.
Don't like. Do not like.
Port Mayaca Lock. Port Mayaca Lock. This is the westbound sailing vessel Sandflea requesting passage through the lock.
What's your location now?
We just came under the railroad lift bridge.
Alright, be down there shortly to get and give you a permission to come in. You'll type on the port wall, and then we'll get you through and get you out of here. Roger.
Roger, thank you.
All right, so with the lift bridge behind us, we are now on approach to the Mayaca lock, and this is the lock that gives you access to the lake. We're going to be crossing the lake from east to west, and once we go through this lock, we will be in Lake Okeechobee. Isn't that right?
That's right.
Say Mayaca.
Mayaca.
All right, we are entering the lock now. They open the gates. There's a little kind of a traffic light up there. You just wait on it to turn green and then you can proceed into the lock. It's a port side tie, and there's lots of ropes just hanging down on that port side wall. I'm gonna have to put the camera down for a minute, but we will resume shortly. I think I see an alligator in there. Is that an alligator?
Oh my goodness. It's an alligator. We're at a lock. A lock up there. We came in from that way. And the gate is opening. Right there. So more water is going to come in so we can go in. Mommy is holding the boat off the lock. Mama, what do you think of the alligator?
That's pretty cool. He's a big one.
Yeah. It's opening.
It's opening. at that lake, all that water.
Yeah.
Super shallow though.
Yep. You think we can make it?
I hope so.
We are exiting the Macaya Lock. This is where things are about to get serious. Probably the most serious part of this trip for us. The guy at the lock said normally we would be stepping up into the lake, but the lake is so low that we actually step down a foot into the lake. So that should tell you kind of how unusually low the water is out here. And man, holy cow, it looks like we're going out into the ocean. Hey man, we got her, look here. Like we're just out of the lock and the depth is saying 5.5 feet already. 6, 5.5, 5. It's low, real low. Like for instance, the Navionics charts are saying this should be 7.9 feet, and it's basically just a little over 5. All right, it is just wide open out here. I mean, it really feels like we are in the ocean. But we are only in about 7 feet of water, says the chart plotter. And the odd thing about it is the markers are, like I can't see another marker in front of us, like at all. So we are basically flying on instruments. I mean, I have our Navionics going here. I struck this black line just as a very straight line so that we can follow that. We're also doing basically the same thing on that one. So we have 2 chart plotters with straight lines that we're just basically following those straight lines, because there is nothing visually out here at all. I don't see any. There's some speck on the horizon way over there. It looks like there might be a boat way over there. I can kind of see land wrapping around this way, but then it disappears kind of in that area. So it's kind of creepy, especially with the very low water levels. This is very weird. But I would say the depths right now are averaging about 7 feet in the channel. I guess I can tell you this. I like using the sonar chart setting in our Navionics because it actually does show the bottom contours. Navionics gets that data from people like me who are out here, you know, basically sounding all this water out. Then they upload it onto their system, and then you basically have a good visualization of what the bottom looks like. So I can see the channel pretty well in Navionics. You know, that is the contours of the bottom. So that shows me where the channel is. Anyways, that's the sonar chart setting in Navionics, and I am a big fan of that. Well, anyways, we're just gonna be out here a while, cruising on in a straight line. It's about 20 miles across, so we should be out here maybe a little less than 4 hours, going 5.5 knots, if all goes well. The autopilot's really seeming like it's a real asset out here doing this lake crossing, because it is it's just a bunch of straight lines. It's not a single straight line all the way across the lake, but if you're doing a east to west crossing like us, you exit the lock and then you basically go southwest and then south and then west and then southwest again, and it's like perfectly straight lines, you know, on each of those segments. So the autopilot's, you know, I think that's a big help in kind of keeping you in the deep water. You just gotta, you know, be sure you're staying on track, but at least it doesn't let you kind of wander around if you're not really paying much attention. So yeah, autopilot's a big help. Here's one of the very rare markers on Lake Okeechobee. The last one that we saw was about 8 miles behind us. The next one is about 5 miles in front of us. So those suckers are super spread out. All right, at this point we are just about across Lake Okeechobee. The one part that we have left is after we round this next corner, we'll be going into the approach canal. And the difference between that and the rest of the lake is that it's not a soft, muddy bottom. It is actually a canal carved out of hard rock. So hopefully there's enough depth in the middle of the canal for us. But, you know, pretty much if you were to accidentally leave the canal or miss one of the markers, you're guaranteed to run aground in a very bad way. So that's the big danger. We want to be really careful about that. But we're just about home free if we can make it through this canal. Here we go. All right, we're currently seeing depth readings anywhere from 5.5 to maybe 6.5 feet. We have seen the occasional one that shows a little bit less than 5 feet. We saw 4.9. There's some kind of big concrete structure out there, and that should give you a good indication of how low the water level is. I mean, look at that. That black mark on the bottom, that's like at least 8 feet down. And then there's kind of a brown line above that. So yeah, the water is way down from its, you know, typical depth. All right, we have made it across the Okeechobee. We are in the final stretch of the canal, but it's all just kind of marshland stuff. We've got 7.5 feet of water, so I think we're home free. That crossing took us 4 hours. The lowest depths that we saw was 4.9 feet. Kind of the average depth that we saw was probably about 8 feet. And also, just as a reference, the Army Corps of Engineers on their website currently has the water depth at 4.93 feet. That's what they call it. So there's your reference. And this is low, low water. Woohoo! Across the Okeechobee.
Woo!
Nice job, ladies.
You too, honey.
Here we are, tied to the city dock in Moorhaven. It's our understanding that you can tie up to this dock and then you just walk across the street to City Hall there, pay them $1 per foot, and I think that's all there is to it. I see little receptacles there for power and water. I'm not sure how that works. Maybe that's included, but yeah, just arrived here. That was about I guess maybe a 7 or 8 hour day. We went 42 or 45 miles across Lake Okeechobee, and we have arrived in Moorhaven. Molly has already spotted in the distance what appears to be a splash pad. Okay, we are inside the splash pad. Not a whole lot going on, but check this out. Is coming in. Oh man, I can feel it pushing the boat back. Oh, holy crap. Hang on, keep that rope tight. Oh man, it's like moving the boat around. I think we got it. The fenders aren't doing anything. They're not even touching the wall. All right, I'm putting this down.